1865, the Nottingham Forest podcast, is proudly sponsored by The Terrace, the home of retro and fan culture sports merchandising. Check out their range of Forest merch by visiting theterracestore.com or visit them on social media.
The 1865 Match Report.
Welcome to the 1865 Match Report with me, the Maradona of the Midlands. Today we're looking back at the big lunchtime clash with our beloved local rivals, Derby County. A match where both tempers flared and flares flared. As I'm sure you all know by now, Forest came out with a 2-1 victory in front of a capacity crowd of over 29,000. Lewis Grabban put them in the lead in the 48th minute, and Brennan Johnson wrapped up the win with a beautiful goal in the 82nd minute. Lawrence pulled one back for Derby on 88 minutes through a penalty to leave a tense finish, but Forest managed to hang on. To put some meat on the bones of those match facts, we are joined today by our very own babyface assassin, Stephen Topless. Hi, Stephen.
Hello.
And also by Lord Barrington of Yorkshire, Baz. Hi,
Hey.
Baz.
Hello.
Hi. So, we'll start.
I just want to add, not only did tempers flares flared, but I'm wearing flares.
Oh, it's a full hat trick.
Hey.
More flares than a Bay City Rollers concert, you could say. Anyway, so, Stephen, I'll start with you. There's a surprising bit of team news to start the day with.
Yeah, so Joe Worrall was out of the team, injured. The story is that he will be out now for the next 6 weeks. Obviously a key player out of that starting 11. But actually, when you look at the team as a whole, it wasn't too bad a miss with McKenna and Cook as the centre backs, and Max Lowe returning to the left-hand side of a back four with Jed Spence on the right. Grabban and Davis continuing up front as they did against Millwall last week. And this more conventional four at the back with the way I saw it was the back four, then three in the middle of Yates, Colback and Garner, and then Johnson and Davis playing just either side of Grabban as a sort of an attacking front two just through the middle. So a slight change to the formation, but nothing that
I disagree with that.
Used.
Oh, please go ahead, Baz.
I'd say we started the game with a back three, with Yates playing on the right-hand side of the back three. But we changed it pretty quickly because it wasn't working. And I'd say Grabban probably was playing sort of a number 10 kind of role to start with. And then it probably shifted within the first 15 minutes. I mean, the first half in general was awful. But what we were doing obviously wasn't working, and it sort of switched to more of a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 kind of thing, with Garner sort of playing the number 10 role a little bit.
Oh, okay. And so would you say Derby were on top in that first period, first 15 minutes or so?
I'd say Derby set out to stop us playing, and they did that very, very well. And we basically, the entire first 45 minutes, I don't think either team strung more than 2 passes together.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of scrappy fouls, I think, and no real patterns of play. Why didn't it work so well with the starting formation? Was Yates a bit too deep? Were we giving them too much control of midfield to Derby?
I don't know about that. I think they were playing a back four, and I think the just balance of it was completely wrong, and it wasn't really sitting right. I was quite surprised as well because Yates was on the side, and he was. I can see why, Stephen, you'd have thought he was playing in midfield because he kind of sat between the two lines a lot. I think he wasn't really ready for this position that he was playing in. Before, when he's played in the back three, he's played in the centre. And that's kind of, it's fine if the centre back moves forward out of line. But if it's the one of the side ones, then you need the others to be ready for it. And I don't think they were.
Yeah, from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like we created much in the first half, and the only real chance fell to Derby. Is that right, Stephen?
Yeah, the big chance was actually quite crucial because it fell to the one Derby player who you didn't want it to fall to, and that was Tom Lawrence. A nice bit of movement, passing the ball around on the edge of our box, and it comes to Lawrence in the middle of the penalty box, in front of goal, and somehow for a player of his ability, he drags it wide of the post, and that felt like a bit of a let-off for Forest. I wouldn't say that Derby were massively on top. I think what they did well was play a high line, which forced Forest back, and we almost didn't know how to combat that to begin with. That team sort of coming at us and playing more aggressively up the pitch. But I think had that Derby chance gone in with Lawrence, then we could have seen a very different game. Particularly when you consider the player who was on the end of that chance. I was expecting the net to bulge and was very surprised when it didn't.
Yeah, sounds like a let-off for us. Were there any chances for Forest? Did they have any shots on target in the first half?
I don't think we had anything on target. We had a couple of half chances.
I seem to remember Yates having a bit of it. I think he had a shot that the keeper parried away. I couldn't tell from my position if that was on target or not, but that's the only chance of note I could think of in that first half, really. There wasn't a lot of creativity or movement from Forest, really, in that first 45.
Yeah, in fact, Tom Lawrence is probably the only player that stood out in the first half, and not just for his missed chance, but right before half-time as well. Breaking through, and Samba goes down. I think it was Cook with him as well. And the three of them all collided together, and Brice Samba had the biggest lump on his head. I saw a photo of it on Twitter at half-time, but he was down for quite a long time, and we were all surprised that he was allowed to carry on in the second half.
It looked like something out of a cartoon. I think you must have had that penny whistle sound when he got injured. I've never seen anything like that in real life. If anybody hasn't seen it, it was like having half an egg on the top of his head. It was huge. It really was a massive old lump there. So I think Tom Lawrence there, I think he's kind of pivotal to the entire story of this game. Yeah,
because of that.
Maybe this will go down as a Tom Lawrence derby in future years. Who knows? The only other sort of talking point that I think we need to mention from the first half was a foul by Lewis Grabban, which he got booked for. But I've heard some people suggest he maybe could even got a red card for that. What do you think?
It's a hard one. I did see a replay of it, and it looked as if there was a foot left in there, but it all happened so quickly. I think it did look like there was a foot left in, but I wouldn't say that he was doing it recklessly or aggressively enough for it to be a red card.
I didn't think it. I thought the yellow was a bit of a surprise. I thought, no, it wasn't a surprise, but I'd also have said I wouldn't have been surprised if nothing had been given at all. So to say it was a red obviously meant you'd seen something that I hadn't seen. Keenan Davis, that thing, was that the first half as well?
I don't know what happened with Keenan Davis.
Oh, so he broke through on their keeper, and the keeper basically looked like, well, from where I was sat, it looked like the keeper took him out.
That was the first half,
first half as well. But yeah, I think replays have sort of shown that there wasn't any contact, although that might be more to do with Keenan Davis sort of jumping to get out of the way. If he'd sort of left a leg in there, he would have risked maybe getting injured, but we could have got a sending off for a foul for it as well. But that's the balancing act you have to play as a striker. So that's the first half wrapped up with. Second half was a different story, though. Forest came out flying and got an early goal. Can you describe the goal for us, Stephen?
Yeah, so Forest had a free kick about 2 minutes into the second half. James Garner puts the ball across towards the back post. It's nodded down by McKenna. I must say I didn't notice who the player was in the middle of the penalty area, whose touch played it into the path of Grabban. I think it might have been Cook, actually. Had a deflected effort, which fell to Grabban, and the master finisher in that position. He was never going to miss, was he? He put that one away clinically, and that was the perfect start to the second half, considering the stop-start nature of the first. To come out and score that goal immediately really gave everybody a lift, I thought.
And I thought as well, you could see like this cloud of relief over our players, and we immediately started passing the ball after that goal went in.
Yeah, I think the occasion had got to them, hadn't they, in that first half in particular, and I think that goal did release a bit of that, and you saw a lot more freedom in that Forest performance after that.
So a better performance just brought on by sort of having a bit less pressure on them, and the sort of freedom to play with the advantage of a goal. Would you say Forest dominated the second half after that and dominated play in possession?
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I think Derby tired, because the way they were playing was all about was not like pressing really high up the pitch, but they were very, very closely marking us, and that's what was stopping us playing. So suddenly they had to take control of the game to try and get back into it. But also they gave us more space so we could then pass the ball about. And that also allowed Jed Spence and Brennan Johnson a bit more space and time, and their pace and creativity down the right-hand side was what was basically giving us the space to go forward and take the game to them.
Yeah, and I think we maybe added a bit more creativity with Philip Zinckernagel coming on after about 68 minutes for Keenan Davis. I think it sounds like he helped to create a few more chances as well.
Zink did really well. So the bloke next to me was furious when Davis went off. We can probably come back to talk about Davis later on, because I think he's quite interesting the way he played. But I think basically he's not played much football this season, so he's not really fit. So Zink comes on and he does add a load of creativity to us. But it kind of, in a way, it harmed us a little bit to start with, because Grabban sort of moved up front, but Grabban being Grabban, he was then peeling off wide a lot of the time. So a lot of our attacks, we were finding that the box was empty and there was no one there. Whereas before, Davis was like this pivotal figure right in the centre to receive the ball. So it kind of worked against us a little bit to some extent.
If nothing else, Davis does offer a great deal of presence. But Zinckernagel was involved with the second goal, Stephen, Brennan Johnson's goal on 82 minutes. Do you want to just talk us through that?
Yeah, and this was a great goal as well. Johnson picked the ball up in his own half, played the ball to Zinckernagel, who carried it. And it's worth watching back the goal, just how much ground Brennan Johnson covers. He goes from his own half to basically the Derby penalty spot in a matter of seconds, and he's there to finish off the cutback from Zinckernagel first time, and he buries it as well right into the far corner, takes it so well. A really well worked goal, and pleased for Brennan that he got on the score sheet, and also for Zinckernagel as well with the assist. It was a really well worked and really nice goal.
Yeah, and sorry, Bas, you want to come in there?
What I absolutely love about it was Brennan made it and then he finished it. That was what was great about it. It was a bit of pure vision to spot Zinckernagel making the run, and played this lofted long crossfield ball to open it up, and then to have him on the other end of it as well was just perfect.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody's not seen it, it is well worth looking at, watching the goal and finding it somewhere, because it really is a thing of beauty. After that, we looked in pretty much total control, and it looked like it was going to be a nice steady coast to the final whistle, until Steve Cook decided to give away a penalty with a silly challenge. You were probably closest to that, Baz. Well, what was he thinking?
Well, what really annoyed me about this, and I said this in the WhatsApp group, is just before, so Derby made this attack and they played like a through ball to, I don't know who it was actually, to one of their 48, I think it is. So I can't remember what his name is, but and Steve Cook does this brilliant, really, really good move where he pushes his body in between the player and the ball, and just basically his strength knocks the player out of the way. And I was turned to the bloke next to him and went, "That was amazing." and then the ball falls to one of the Derby players like a couple of seconds later, and it was Tom Lawrence, wasn't it? And so the ball falls to Tom Lawrence, and Cook then goes out towards the side of it and completely mistimes his tackle, and just basically takes him out totally late, nowhere near the ball. And there's no way you could deny that it was a nailed on penalty, completely deserved. And Cook just, I don't know if he was just overconfident after his brilliant move a few seconds earlier or what, but he just lost his head.
Yeah, he dived in. All he really needed to do was sort of stand up and be tall, big and tall, and block the path through to goal. But just, I think he had one of those psycho moments. He thought he was Stuart Pearce reincarnated and thought he'd go for a flying tackle, and it didn't go quite as planned. That gave Tom Lawrence the chance to pull a goal back from the penalty spot. There's all the usual shenanigans before the penalty, as you'd expect with Samba in goal, and he duly put it away nice and coolly, which sets up a tense finish. And there's lots more shenanigans straight after the penalty. Stephen, what happened? There seemed to be some sort of melee in the Forest net as they were trying to get the ball back.
Yeah, so Tom Lawrence obviously was trying to get the ball back immediately after scoring the penalty, but Samba wouldn't let him do it, basically. He was moved across, body checked him, blocked him away from getting the ball, and suddenly Lawrence takes exception and it all starts kicking off.
I think Samba actually knocked the ball out of Lawrence's hands.
That was it. Yeah,
he reminded me of a volleyball player with that strong right forearm of his today. Yes, he's a character, and that really sort of heated it up for the last few minutes.
To add on Samba, so I turned to the bloke next to me and went, "Samba's a real prick, isn't he?" And he went, "Yeah." And then I had this moment of revelation. Brice Samba is the Robbie Savage of goalkeeping.
Yeah. I get annoyed with him not so much now, but before when he was playing with Sabri, just when we started wasting so much time, we were 1-0 up, and you go, hurry up, just get we can score a second goal. And so how annoying it must be for opposition fans, I can't imagine.
And the thing is, like, we used to joke that Jack Colback always had like a yellow card every 2 games, but it's Brice Samba that gets the yellow card every 2 games now.
He's certainly got that reputation now. I think he's famous for it up and down the country, and the ill-tempered behaviour sort of continued after that. Ravel Morrison did a slightly mistimed challenge, and with his studs, I think, rolled off the ball, and it made it look like an over-the-top challenge on Philip Zinckernagel, and he received a straight red, which set off some more fireworks on the pitch, a bit more shoving and pushing and shoving, and argy-bargy. Samba was at it again. For some reason, he came all the way out. It's quite comical looking at him. He was sort of standing there with his arms held behind his back to show the referee that he wasn't doing anything, while winding up every single Derby player within earshot. But that sort of took the nerves up down to a slight edge, and Forest held on to another famous Derby Day victory. I think it's 10 derbies now with Derby where they've been unable to beat us, and there's that Twitter account, Day Since Derby Beat Us. Please check that out if you want to know the exact number of days. But there was some more fisticuffs at the end, which will probably mean we'll both get fined £20,000 or £30,000 each. Derby obviously won't be able to pay that, so we're stuck with that.
We'll pay it for them.
We'll pay it for them, and that leads nicely to my next question. What was the atmosphere like at today's game? Was it a bit less acrimonious? Did the Forest fans show any sort of sympathy towards the Derby fans?
We had there was loads and loads of money just flying out of the stands onto the pitch. It was brilliant.
Oh yes, for anybody who hasn't heard this, it wasn't real money. It was photocopied money, I believe. Yeah. So don't get too excited.
And what my favourite chant was, "We're going to have a party when Derby County die."
Oh dear. Well, the milk of human kindness seems to have run dry on the banks of the River Trent. Well, I for one hope they manage to pull out the mess.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we don't want them to die. We just want them to get relegated and then.
Yeah, we just want them to go into coma, not wake up for 6 years, and then come back and realise it was all a dream, something like that. But yeah, part of the raison d'etre of being a Forest fan is the hatred of Derby. I'm not sure it's over the last 20 or so years when we've not had much to shout about. It's sort of come to help define us and shape our season slightly. It does have the appearance sometimes of two bald men fighting over a comb when we play Derby, but it's all good fun in the end. So Forest win 2-1, and we're looking good. Dare we be optimistic with 2 points? I think outside the playoffs, or we were after the match. Is there a momentum building there for a promotion race, Stephen? A playoff push?
I think there's a chance. Of course, there is. When you're 4 points away, which I think is how it stands now after the games at 3:00 kicked off and finished. 4 points, the gap, with the best part of 20 games left to play. Absolutely, it's on, and Forest have as good a chance as anybody in that top 10, top 12 of breaking into the playoffs. And quite a few of the teams around us who do have games in hand will be playing each other as well. So there's potential for sides to be taking points off one another. So very confident about the end of the season. I'm not going to make any bold predictions that we are going to be in the playoffs for definite, but it's nice to be in that mix and in with a shout for the remaining third of the season or so. It's plenty to be excited about.
Yeah, I mean, I think the business we've done early doors in the transfer window has certainly given us a boost, and certainly we look stronger now than we did a month ago. We can talk about Davis now, if you like. Well, what about Baz? What has he brought to the team in your eyes?
So it was that thing. He played down the centre. He could receive the ball. He could hold it up. He was very, very strong and physical, and although at times it quite often looked like the ball was getting trapped under his feet and he didn't really know what to do with it, the fact is it's stuck. And that's been a problem for us, is getting the ball to stick high up the pitch. And so even if he gives us that focal point, which we've not had for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember first match he played, the Arsenal game, I was very impressed with his touch and his hold-up play, and it really did, I think, add a new dimension to our play. I think if we can keep hold of Brennan Johnson, I think, as Stephen said, we've got as good a chance as anybody. But I'm just keeping my feet on the ground. We've been here many times before. So let's keep calm, but enjoy tonight. Forest won the Derby game. And we're back in action on Tuesday night with a home game against Barnsley, the match that was postponed due to COVID. And we'll be back with some form of match report after Tuesday for that. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please leave a review and hit the subscribe button. Even if you didn't enjoy it, subscribe anyway. What else? You've got nothing to lose. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.